The day Olivia had dreamed of was finally here, but not for her. Dressed in white, glowing with joy, was her former best friend Mia, and standing beside her, Noah, the man Olivia had once called the love of her life. Just months ago, Olivia had been planning her own wedding with Noah, imagining a future filled with love and happiness. But in the cruelest twist, Mia, her closest friend, the one she trusted most, had betrayed her, stealing Noah away and taking everything Olivia had ever wanted. The pain had been unbearable, but today, standing in the shadows of their perfect day, Olivia was done grieving. She wasn't here to cry. She was here to make sure Mia and Noah never forgot what they did to her. As the ceremony began, Olivia took a deep breath, stepped forward, and did something that left the entire room in stunned silence. All eyes turned to Olivia as she walked down the aisle, her heels clicking against the marble floor. The guests whispered among themselves, confusion spreading like wildfire. Mia's smile faltered, and Noah stiffened, his hands clenching at his sides. Olivia's heart pounded, but she kept her expression calm. She had rehearsed this moment over and over in her head. She had spent sleepless nights wondering how Mia could betray her, how Noah could break every promise he ever made. Now she stood before them, not as a heartbroken ex-fiancé, but as a woman who refused to be erased. Mia finally found her voice. "Olivia, what are you doing here?" she asked, forcing a smile. Olivia tilted her head slightly, pretending to think. "Oh, I wouldn't miss this for the world." Her voice was steady, but her words carried weight. She reached into her bag, and the room collectively held its breath. Mia's grip tightened around Noah's arm as Olivia slowly pulled out an envelope. The guests exchanged puzzled glances, some leaning in, eager to see what would happen next. Noah's face remained unreadable, but Olivia could see the tension in his jaw. He knew. "This belongs to you," Olivia said, her voice calm but firm, handing the envelope to Mia. For a moment, Mia hesitated before snatching it from Olivia's hand. She glanced at Noah before carefully peeling it open. Her fingers trembled as she unfolded the paper inside. Olivia watched as Mia's confident expression twisted into something else. Panic. Her eyes darted across the words, her breath hitching. Noah stepped closer, peering over her shoulder. His face paled. "Where did you get this?" Mia's voice cracked, barely above a whisper. Olivia smirked, crossing her arms. "You should really be more careful about what you try to keep hidden." A murmur spread through the crowd. Something was wrong, something big, and whatever was in that letter, it had just shattered the illusion of a perfect wedding day. Mia's hands shook as she folded the letter back, trying to compose herself, but Olivia could see the panic in her eyes. Noah, standing beside her, was breathing heavily now, his gaze flicking between Mia and Olivia, as if searching for a way out. But there was no escape. The guests were no longer whispering. They were watching intently, the tension thick in the air. Olivia could almost hear their thoughts, wondering what was in that letter, why Mia was suddenly so uneasy. But only Olivia knew. Noah opened his mouth to speak, but Olivia held up her hand, silencing him. "Don't," she said softly, her eyes locked on his. "I want Mia to explain first." Mia's gaze shifted toward Noah, pleading, her voice barely audible. "No, please." But he remained silent, staring at Olivia as if she had become a stranger. Her heart hurt, but she quickly pushed a feeling away. This wasn't about her anymore. "You can't hide forever, Mia," Olivia continued, her tone cold. "Everyone here deserves the truth." Mia's face reddened, and for the first time, Olivia saw something other than confidence in her eyes, fear. But the most shocking part, Mia didn't speak. She only looked down at the letter again, as if weighing whether to reveal everything. The silence between them grew, heavy and suffocating. Olivia felt a dark thrill build inside her. The pieces of the puzzle had finally fallen into place, and the truth was about to come crashing down. Would Mia confess? Would Noah finally understand what he had done? Olivia wasn't sure, but she was ready for whatever came next. The room was suffocating with silence, everyone waiting, but Mia still didn't speak. Olivia stood there, watching, and just as she was about to demand the truth, a voice rang out from the back of the room. "Enough, Olivia." It was Noah, his voice sharp, cracking with frustration. His usual calm was gone, replaced by something darker. The entire room turned toward him. "I know what you think you're doing, but this has gone too far," Noah continued, his eyes blazing. "You've had your closure. You need to let it go." Olivia's heart skipped a beat. Let it go. This wasn't about closure. This was about betrayal, about justice. She opened her mouth to respond, but before she could, Noah stepped forward. "What's in that letter, Olivia?" His tone was accusatory, desperate. "Why didn't you just tell everyone?" Olivia froze, a sinking feeling spreading through her chest. Was he defending Mia? Was he against her? The guest shifted uneasily, the tension rising higher than ever. The letter. Everything was spinning out of control. Olivia had thought she had all the cards, but now Noah's words felt like a gut punch. Suddenly, the truth didn't seem so clear anymore. Olivia had been sure of her revenge, sure she was in the right, but Noah's challenge left her second-guessing everything. Was she really the victim here? Before she could respond, another voice broke through the chaos. It was Mia's, shaky but determined. "You don't know everything, Noah. You don't know what Olivia gave up for you." Mia's words sent a shockwave through the room. Olivia's mind raced, but the sting of that revelation was immediate. What had Mia just said? What did Noah not know? And why had Mia just turned the tables, shifting the blame right back onto Olivia? The pieces of the puzzle were scattered, but now the game had changed. The room was holding its breath, waiting for the next revelation, the next bombshell. Olivia's pulse raced as Mia's words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Noah's confusion was evident, and for a fleeting moment, Olivia felt herself faltering. What did Mia mean by that? What had she given up? But before anyone could say another word, Olivia stepped forward, her voice steady despite the storm swirling inside her. "Mia's right about one thing," she began, her eyes locking with Noah. "You don't know everything." Noah opened his mouth to respond, but Olivia held up her hand, silencing him once more. "The letter you're holding, Mia, is a record of the lies you've been telling Noah. It's the truth about the affair, about what really happened between you two." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. Mia's face drained of color. She tried to speak, but no one spoke, the tension unbearable. The wedding had been nothing more than a carefully orchestrated lie, and now the truth had shattered it all. Olivia had taken her revenge, but the cost had been more than she ever expected. The weight of everything, of the broken friendships, the shattered trust, the lost love, crashed down on her, leaving her with nothing but the painful sting of a life she could never get back. But in the end, she had won, and the room would never forget it. As the silence in the room lingered, the weight of the truth settled in. Noah, his face a mix of regret and disbelief, finally stepped back, his eyes never leaving Olivia. Mia stood motionless, her attempt at maintaining control completely shattered. It was clear. This day, which was meant to celebrate their love, had unraveled everything. Olivia took a deep breath, her heart heavy but her mind clear. The truth had been exposed, and there was nothing more to say. She had taken back her power, no longer the victim, but the one who had called the shots. Mia and Noah tried to salvage what little was left of their dignity, but Olivia knew there was no coming back from this. She wasn't interested in their apologies or justifications anymore. She had learned the hardest lesson of all. Sometimes, revenge wasn't about taking back what was lost, but about letting go and walking away. And with that, Olivia turned, her heart a little heavier, but her spirit free. The room could only watch as she left, knowing she had reclaimed her own story.